evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to episode 143 of the One Perspective to Another podcast. I am your humble and gracious host, A. Sanders, back again, here with you. Know it's been a little minute, took a little hiatus, little break, but I just want to make sure that everything was in order. Took some time. I always talk about consistency, but there is no consistency unless you have a foundation. But there are some important announcements coming and just some changes of just how I'm going to be doing the podcast. Nothing big, but just I'm moving more towards catering to my Apple podcasts because 70% of my listeners are actually on there already. Shout out to the town business in the background if you can hear that. We keep it live, real, and raw out here. But we just need to get right to that. 70% of my listeners are on there. So moving forward, starting on June 15th, that's tomorrow, and also the opening day of California with no more masks, burning the mask like LeBron jersey when he left Cleveland. But there will be an option of a free option to listen to podcasts, and there will also be a freemium version of to listen to podcasts, and also a paid membership to listen to podcasts. My podcast will still be free. It will always be free. It will forever be free. I'm not going to put it behind a paywall like that, but I will be having the freemium option, and the freemium option is the additional benefits for listening to the podcast that will be behind a paywall. But these episodes of the One Perspective to Another podcast that are the episodes that's going to the 140s will still be free, but the additional benefits will be like select moments or like just powwows with people, one-on-one talks, or just conversations with people or anything. Town business in the background, shout out that. Just little things like specific topics, not just thoughts and just like diary shit, but just really focused and tuned in on a particular subject or action or something that I just don't feel comfortable saying to the world and people like that. But there will be no paid subscription where it will be behind the wall to get anything. Not going to do that. So it's just going to be free and freemium. So if you listen on Apple, make sure you check that out. Make sure that you subscribe if you want to. If you want to be a patron, as they say, make sure you subscribe to that. Get the additional benefits, the whole 9 yards. But without any further ado, let's get straight into the episode. Hopefully, Apple been doing a lot of good shit, so hopefully they do something with some spatial audio with podcasts as well too, because that shit would be kind of cool. But yeah, into the podcast. This episode 143 is talking about specifically and most expertly about self-esteem. I took some time for this one because I know this is something that affects a lot of people. It's I guess you could say self-esteem is a mental awareness or preparation thing as well too, because it's at the key of everything. Even if you have a mental illness or if you don't, if you are just living your life regularly and nothing is wrong with you, you still have self-esteem. It used to be back in the day where mental health, it was just having anxiety and all that shit. It was just, you just got low self-esteem. But just in me, in my own head, and just seeing people around me, the world, and how social media is evolving, self-esteem as a whole has evolved into something that is, I guess you could say, a lost art. Because for me personally, this is only my understanding of self-esteem. Is something that was instilled in me by my mother, is that being confident in yourself and confident in what you are, who you are, where you from, and who you are with at all times. And it starts with self and your own self-esteem and being comfortable to do what you like, to do what you love, to feel comfortable in your own skin. And it's something that also my great aunt actually told me, actually a couple of days ago too, is just if you don't know who you are, then how can you expect somebody else to understand you? To me, that's like what self-esteem is, because we're in this divide right now where people don't live in the reality that they're in. They live in the reality of the socials. And a lot of the kids and a lot of the younger people nowadays, they never were taught or how to navigate through life with friendships and relationships and other kids. It's always just a retort or a rebuttal or a copy and paste of something that you've seen or something that you've heard. It's not something that you've experienced. And a lot of self-esteem comes from trial and error and the old school way of like kids playing sports, and all the kids nowadays, you get the participation trophy. Like, I'm not taking away anything from the old school or the new school, because we at that age, or I'm at that age, where time is starting to fold over on itself, and the things that we grew up doing and were considered the norm, those are the things we got to unlearn and relearn and apply to these situations. But at the foundation of it is still self-esteem. And without making it bigger than what it is, the meaning of self-esteem to me is, are you happy or are you content with doing what you are doing in your life? An example of that is, for an older person, is are you happy making your profit? Are you happy making, let's say, $60,000 a year? Are you happy living that lifestyle and working your 9 to 5 and doing what you want to do on the weekends? Or are you content making that profit? Are you content making $60,000 a year? Are you content only being able to do things on the weekend? Like, do you want to build the lifestyle that you want to for that? If so, then you can choose to do that. But with that comes the self-esteem part about it, is because we see people who live lives and they live the lavish lives. And I'm relating this back to the social media part, because you see these things on the screens, but they don't show the behind the scenes. So that makes you lose your self-confidence, because you see these people on boats and on yachts and shit, and just living a lifestyle. And you're just like, fuck, I want to do that shit too. And that's where it goes back with the foundation of self-esteem, of like, if you are content living your life and what you are doing with trial and error, then you would have already known that there is more to the life than you are living now. But if you are truly happy with what you're doing right now, when you see that stuff, it won't be anything to you. It'll just be, oh, it's just the motherfuckers on the Instagram again doing what they do. It won't bother you. It won't make you get tickled to a point where you got to change everything that you're doing, and you just got to live differently and all that shit. And that's on the living aspect of it. But for the man versus the woman, the man is with the self-esteem of how much money do you make. For the woman, the self-esteem aspect of it is, how pretty are you? How pretty can you make your Instagram pictures look? How pretty can you make your face look? Who yacht can you be on? What party can you be at? For the man is, what car do you drive? How much money is in your bank account? Where are you flying some chick out to? Like, that's what the socials make it seem that it's supposed to be. But if that's not what you want, then that's perfectly okay too, because it all comes back to self-esteem. Living out what you hold to be true. If you like to fucking go to the park on the weekends and look for frogs, and that makes you happy because you enjoy it and you like frogs, and that is completely 1000% okay. And then the opposite of that is the people who frown upon that because they don't know anything about it. This is also a society issue too, but with self-esteem comes being content and being comfortable in your own skin to do what you like. If you want to do your fucking makeup for every day of the week and shit, and that makes you happy, it makes you truly happy, and that's what you want to do, but you do that and it makes you happy, then it doesn't matter. But if you doing these things and you post it for the world to see, you are open to conversation and comments and all that shit. It's just like a double-edged sword. But like, if you have self-esteem to be confident and say that you like that shit, then it shouldn't be a problem. But then I ask the question of, why do you post it then? I don't know. It's really a paradox. But for me personally, like, if you love what you love, like, I love my shit. I love flying my drone. I love getting paid to fly my drone. Like, that is my passion. That is my thing. Majestic backdrops, chasing sunsets. Like, that's my shit. There's nothing anybody in this world can tell me any different or frown upon me for it, because it's what I love. It's what brings me peace, brings me being, or leads me to be contented, makes me happy. I really don't use the word happy a lot, but for myself, I say that I'm content a lot, because there's always something else that I can learn, or something else that I can achieve, so I reach towards happiness while always maintaining being content, if that makes sense. Because for me personally, that's what's been instilled into me. That's how I was built. That's how I was raised. That's how I was brought up in the town. It's self-esteem is the key. It's a part of situational awareness. I done did a few podcasts about that, situational awareness, knowing when to do what and how to do it. And that's a part of it. Because I see a lot of people nowadays, not a lot of people, but a few people, to where their self-esteem is low. And the question is, well, how do I get my self-esteem high? How do I get my well-being high? And honestly, my suggestion, I'm not no fucking therapist or nothing. I used to want to be that. Maybe I'll go back to school for that one day. But right now, it's just my perspective. But the first thing to do is just to get off the socials. Stop comparing your life to somebody that you don't know, or somebody that ain't got nothing to do with you, don't care about you, ain't never seen you before. Why are you comparing yourself to something that you've never seen before? 2, even if you did know them, is that what you want, or do you want it because they got it? I know it's a term for that shit, but I don't know what the term for it or the term meaning of it is. But why would you want that just because you see it? Like, that's why I say, going back, you got to develop your own sense of self, what you like, what captures your mind, what captures your heart, what brings you peace. And these are questions that you have to ask yourself, whether it's, like I said, going out to the park and catching frogs, whether it's going to play baseball, whether it's just going for a run, whether it's going to work out. Like, nobody else can try that shit except you. That's why it's called self-esteem, because it's what fuels you. It's what brings you clarity. It's what gives you purpose to stay balanced and content to be able to make these moves and whatnot. And it actually brings you back to it was a triangle or a pyramid. I think I've done a podcast about talking about this with self-esteem, and self-esteem fits in, or on this, it's this triangle, and it says self-actualization, esteem, love, belonging, safety, and physiological. And self-actualization is morality, creativity, spontaneity, problem solving, lack of prejudice, acceptance of fact. Then in esteem, there's self-esteem, there's confidence, achievement, respect of others, respect by others, love, belonging, friendship, family, sexual intimacy, safety, security of body, employment, resources, morality, the family, health, property, physiological, breathing, food, water, sex, sleep, homeostasis, and accretion, wrong word, but we talking about esteem, self-esteem, confidence, achievement, respect of others, and respect by others. There's just like a creative path in understanding that, hey, I am a person, I am a human. You should be aware of your presence, aware of other people's presence, and aware of how other people's presence affects you by what they do to you, and how things are done to you, and how you do things towards the rest of the world. And that self-esteem comes in, like I was talking about on the socials and on Instagram and on TikTok. You see people just say like dumb shit like, oh, if you a chick and you ain't got 10,000 fans, 10,000 followers, then you ugly. Like, those kind of things will either hurt somebody's self-esteem or give somebody or take away respect from somebody by saying those kind of things. But it's like, what do you choose to say if you're that fucking 17-year-old girl who just got on TikTok for the first time? You've been on a week and you don't have 10,000 fans. The self-esteem aspect of it is, depending on how she was raised and what she was taught, it's just words, sticks and stones to break my bones, all that shit. Or you can have understanding, situational awareness. Is having 10,000 fans something that you really want? Is it a goal that you really want? If you don't have those 10,000 fans, does that really make you ugly? The social construct of a person and their words meaning something more, especially because it's negative. Negativity travels way faster than the truth. So you got to look inside yourself. And this could be with anything. I just use TikTok as an example. But do you really choose to accept those words as law? Do you choose to allow those words to put a limit or a ceiling on what you and your original choice of even downloading TikTok to begin with? Like, is it going to affect you? Is it going to change you? Is it the respect factor? Is it the respect of others to you? Is it the respect by others? Like, those are the real questions, because it's still people who are my age who look at these situations and have to ponder. To me, there is no pondering. You do what you do because you want to do it. But if the social medias and other people's influence, that's why I say influencers. It's a follower. It's the constant repetition and regurgitation of shit that's been said and shit that's been seen. There's no authenticity to it. It's just regurgitation over and over and over and over and over again. That's why trends are so popular. That's why you see all these people doing this cartoon shit, because it's nothing that is original that's going to spike. But it's also understanding that that's just the way the world works right now. And it's, do you want to be in it or do you not want to be in it? Will that shit break your self-esteem if you don't write the trend? I don't know. I know I wrote a quote about that a while ago, waiting for time for aesthetics to be common. Shit, I don't even remember. I know it's on my background on oneperspectivetoanother.com though. But it's just the timing of it all. And me personally, like, when it comes to my self-esteem, there's nothing that's going to break mine, because I'm not in competition with anybody else than myself. Yes, I do pay attention to other people and everything that I do with droning, with computer shit, with podcasting. I'm aware of people who are better than me. I'm aware of people who are lesser than me. I'm aware of where I stand and how much work I'm putting into it and where I'm putting my focus. I'm aware. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop thinking of my own value. The intangible of self-esteem is a pivotal one. It's not at the bottom of the pyramid, but it's pretty close there, because a lot of people are still searching for it. I'm not asking for people to be fucking superstars or anything, but just have enough self-esteem to understand that the only thing that matters is what you do. Have enough self-esteem to understand that what you see on these socials and Instagram and TikTok is not the end all be all. It's closer to a fad than it is a foundation. And I think that's the most important thing that people should know and understand, that it's just a moment. It's not here forever. So don't let what somebody says on social media to you affect your self-esteem to the point where you're going to be in a rut for the next 3 years because of a comment, or you're going to be in a rut because of you didn't get the post that you wanted to be seen by 10,000 people. It's people on Instagram who got 67 million followers who I've never even seen before in my life. So just keep that in mind when you're pursuing your own self-esteem and going towards your goals and growing towards your change. And that's pretty much all I really got to say this week. I'm back. I hope that everybody's been blessed. See if the world is changing or not. Gonna take off these masks and get back to talking, so we ain't gotta be hot no more. But in closing, I just want to say thank you. If you've gotten this far, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for telling two friends to tell two friends. Make sure that you do tell more people. And if you do want to support, I will be greatly appreciated on the freemium subscription. There'll be a little short, little 5-minute, little powwow kind of behind the wall, just raw, real Opta After Dark. I don't even know if anybody ever know I had the Opta After Dark page. I was just saying shit raw, real, not giving a fuck how it needs to be said. But like Opta is a more concise and more thought out and just more thought driven and change podcast. But that little Opta After Dark is more just real raw. No borders, no holds bar. It is what it is. Like, just don't deal with no dumb shit kind of stuff. But we'll get that popping out real soon. Yeah, we'll catch you on the flip side. And